Morning everyone, it's Yvonne here to do your What's Cracking reading. Firstly, as I always do, thank you for subscribing, thank you for your support. I love reading all your messages. What can I say? But one message this morning did hit home for me very strongly. Before I started out on this channel, I was always so proud. I never let anybody know what was going on in my private life. It was the way I was raised. Um, it's unfortunate that, you're not taught that it's important to share with other people. And I'm not talking oversharing, I'm talking sharing your experiences, because I feel that it helps people to feel more grounded in their own experiences. So I grew up thinking that when I had an experience, because I couldn't share it, that there was something wrong with me. And of course, as time went by and people started sharing their experiences of me, it made me realize that I was quite, perhaps not what we would class as normal. I'm not a great believer in the word normal, but as much as it could be, I felt part of the whole community. And somebody said something about that to me this morning, and I want to say thank you, because it took a lot of courage for me to start talking about my experiences. And people often say to me now, it really has helped them, that my channel really helps them to come to terms with some of the things they've experienced, which is a huge thing for me. Whilst I love doing the readings, the fact that I now talk about my own experiences is really good, that I know that those experiences help you too. Sometimes when I say things and people go, really? Is that how it is? And I'm like, I think that that's how it is. A good example, dysfunctional families. When I grew up, I couldn't understand why everybody else seemed to have this amazing family and mine was so haphazard. And then when I started learning about things, I remember reading this thing that said, as a child, you go over to other people's houses, everybody's on their best behaviour, and they perform. So you think that your family's not right because they look so fabulous. And I realise that now. So I think that the dysfunctional family is quite normal. I think it's the non-dysfunctional family that isn't. Whereas I grew up thinking, everybody had this beautiful home with these lovely parents, and I couldn't even compare it to mine. So that's just an example. But I am so glad that you said that to me. It meant a lot to me. And I just wanted to say thank you. And I do love sharing my experiences with you, because I know that people really find them helpful in their own lives. So, all right, we're going to use the Lightseers Tarot for your reading today. I think I said yesterday I'm limiting personal readings, at least for the time being, until I get myself into a better space. I'm only going to be doing readings for some of the time, one day a week. So just as I said, while I adapt to a new job that I'm doing, and then as time goes by, maybe we'll do that, improve that. But what I want to say is I'm going to continue, hopefully, to do the channel readings for you. Okay, let's get into this reading. Oh, have I got my deck upside down? Oh no, we're all upside down and back to front. And look at that, we've come out with the Ace of Cups in reverse. So I don't know what's going on with my deck this morning, because we have reversals. So let's honour the reversals. So I have the Ace of Cups in reverse. I do have, the Seven of Wands in reverse, and I do have the Knight of Cups in reverse. So for me, this energy, when the Ace of Cups is in reverse, it's like you're holding back some sort of new beginning here. Now, sometimes we're given an opportunity to move forward, but we could be not confident about it. We could be unsure of the direction it's taking us, and we can resist a new beginning. And to me, this is how this is looking. I do have the new beginning behind that. So it might be that you're resisting it because you don't feel it's right for you or in the right time frame. But what I feel more here, especially with the Ace of Pentacles, is maybe this offer, keep dropping the cards, maybe this offer just isn't quite right for you yet. I feel like they're trying to turn up the right way. But anyway, So I feel here really strongly that somebody is making an offer to you. Maybe you're not really sure, maybe you're not ready, but you are resisting it here. Not quite sure why, because it looks like to me that offer is going to come through anyway, regardless of what's going on. There is some sort of ending, a new beginning coming through. You don't trust this offer because we have the Devil card here. So you'll be dealing with a Capricorn or a Cancer here. There's some sort of deliberation on the direction to go in. Okay. It may be that this is an offer of a job, I feel, or an offer of something. It doesn't feel so much romantic. It feels like the offer of something. It could be friendship. And it feels to me like you're not really trusting where the offer's coming from. Now, when I see the Devil, I always think, have you been in a narcissistic or abusive or toxic situation before where you're now feeling I can't move forward because the same thing may happen again? I have a feeling I've sort of done something like this in the last few days or even the last week or so. There's a real feeling here that you are relying on your own experiences. You're going back to what you've experienced before. Now, I always think that it's really good to understand your own experiences and take the lessons from that. But sometimes we can be our own worst enemy when it comes to that, because we can resist a great opportunity because of our fear of moving forward. And I always think, dissecting that fear is the really important thing here. What is the fear about? If you're fearful of moving into a job or a relationship or something that looks really good, why are you fearing it? Do you not trust yourself to make the right decisions? Do you not trust yourself if it isn't right for you that you can back out? Those are the lessons that you've learned. If you're resisting it, then are you resisting it because you fear that something is going to go wrong? In which case you're really holding back your life here. The Three of Pentacles here makes me feel that this is something that you need to move towards. But I really feel that you need to have a look at your fear and ask yourself, is it grounded? Sometimes we can have what we call irrational fears or phobias, and they are not always real. They can be started by something which is potentially real. So, when I was a kid, I got bitten by dogs a few times. I sort of look back now and think it was once I got bitten once, I was scared of all dogs. I have no fear of dogs now. But you have that initial experience and all of a sudden all dogs look like a danger to you. So you develop what they call a phobia. And that can happen, if you've had a fear of something in the past that has been, somewhat intrusive, worrying, whatever for you, then you may start to block yourself from new experiences for fear of doing that again. And of course, in its own time, that starts that agoraphobia stuff off. And you can get into the pattern of even panic attacks if you're that fearful. I want to say to you, if something's being offered to you and you're unsure, ask yourself, can I trust myself to do this and make any decisions I need to back out if it isn't right for me? Because ultimately it's your trust in yourself that you need to have. And if you can trust yourself, if you can take that leap of faith, if you can get over that little bit of fear you've got going on, I feel like that your potential would soar, you would feel confident, your self-esteem would start to return, and you would start to understand how really powerful you are. Okay, let's see where we're going here. All right, so we have the beautiful Hermit card coming through. Sometimes when I see the Hermit, for me, the Hermit's such a beautiful card. They're all beautiful cards. But the Hermit for me is that taking out of time to really look deep within yourself. Sometimes it can mean, getting into meditation practice. It might be that you want to take time out and go and have a few days somewhere else to really understand what it is you want. But I feel like sometimes what we do is we just accept things, okay, I'm scared, I'm not doing it, so I'm just going to accept that. And I know through my own experiences with what they class agoraphobia, that actually challenging your fears is what it's all about. So I feel like here you may be having some sort of contact with counseling. We have the Tower, you're rebuilding something here. Beautiful. Something from your past has got you stuck here. So the situation is quite irrelevant. The pathway and the way forward are not. That is what is coming through strongly here. So when I see the Tower, I always think that the most important thing to consider with the Tower is that the universe is saying to you what you've built in the past was built on a shaky foundation. So if you've built an idea that relationships are all bad, or you've got that what I call catastrophic thinking, one person does something wrong, so all of a sudden you black mark every person from that race, from that industry, relationship status. Once we get one thing wrong, we can just look at everything and say everything is wrong. That's catastrophic thinking. So I feel like here, something that's happened to you in the past has allowed you to believe that somehow or another you can't do it right the next time around. Because all people are bad, or all people are untrustworthy, or all men are abusive, or all women are spiteful. And when you hear yourself saying that, that's the sort of challenging that you have to do. So with the Tower, that says to me you need to take time out to rebuild a belief that you have that is stopping you moving forward. Now, I do have the past card here. So it might be something you believed in your childhood, like you might still be scared of dogs because you got bitten when you were young. So therefore all dogs are bad. But you see what you tend to do, and I learned this because I got bitten the first time and it was quite a nasty bite. Every time I saw dogs after that, I became scared. So they would get aggressive towards me because of my fear. So I found that all dogs would snarl and growl. So it just reinforced that fear over and over again. So when I see the dogs on that card, I feel like that was a good story to tell. But the universe is saying here, there is a new path opening for you. And is that path through your own fear? That's what I'd ask. All right, so we have change coming through with more Scorpio energy coming through there. Four of Swords, a lot of energy of like taking time out and really considering, maybe this opportunity. I've got the Victory card. Maybe what this opportunity is, and I do hear people say it, I challenge people all the time on this, especially when I'm coaching people. When I see the Victory card here, I feel like something here is being given to you. So it could be that you're being offered to do a university degree, but you have a fear here, have a fear here that maybe you're not going to do well. Maybe one of your parents said, you'll never amount to anything. Who do you think you are? Like, you don't have the brains to do that. And you grow up thinking, well, I can't do this because I might fail. But what happens if you didn't get it right? What happens? I don't believe in failure because I think everything comes with experience. So what happens if you don't get that right? Then you get to go back and do it again. But that time around, you get to do it with the experiences you had from the last time around. If it's a relationship and you're being offered a relationship and your last relationship wasn't very good, then you need to have the courage to do that again, to be able to say, well, this relationship isn't good this time. Rather than sticking around for 10 years, I've learned my lesson. I'll walk out the door when the first occurrence happens. And that's what happens. So if you have an abusive relationship, the next relationship you have, if somebody shows some sort of aggressive behavior or yells at you or is unreasonable, then you know from your previous experience that's not good. You won't put up with it the next time around. So see what experience does for you. So I feel like here there is a victory coming your way. I love that there's so many major arcanas in this reading. Look at that, rebirth, temperance and judgment. And we have the 10 of Cups at the end. Super duper reading. Okay, so I feel like here some sort of opportunity is coming your way and it's giving you a chance at rebirth. Now, if it's, say, for example, let's talk about a job. Maybe you've been in jobs for years where you felt that people didn't appreciate you, that perhaps the environment's become toxic, and you've been unable to protect yourself because of the type of energy you carry around. So you might be very empathic, for example, which means when toxic energy is around, you just take it on board. But maybe you've learned how to deal with those boundaries around your own energy now. So one of the boundaries that's so important to learn is how to protect your energy. People sometimes feel so proud of being empathic, and for me it was just a huge burden. I took on everything and it was just so bad I couldn't even describe to you. Sorry, I'm just going to have to wipe my nose. um, how bad that is, you know, when you're taking on all the energy. I still do it now, but the moment I do it now, I go, no, stop. That is not your business. That is not your energy. That does not belong to you. And I stop it quick, smart. Because I was watching something the other day on the news, which really sort of cut deep. I don't watch the news, my partner does. And I overheard something. And at the moment I started to take it on, I realised why I didn't watch things like that. It's not because I don't have an interest in current affairs. It's because the news is bad news all the time, bad. Media are trying to get your attention. They're trying to work that empathic energy that you have so that you start to feel it really heavily. There are no good news stories. It used to be when you watch the news, you would get some news stories that were good, but nowadays everything is bad. And there was something that happened that made me dip straight into that empathy. And I felt it. I felt it all come up within me. And I was like, this is awful. This is horrible. And I went, stop. That is not your energy. That is media trying to get your energy into that really empathic sort of place. So you start listening. It's a really good way of inciting hatred and racism and dissatisfaction and misery. So I stopped and I went, this isn't mine. This isn't my energy. This isn't anything to do with me. Can I do something about this? Nothing. I can do nothing about this. And then I started to realize how easy it is to get into that energy. So the one thing I've learned over the years is when we talk about boundaries, that's very often the boundary that we're talking about. How to protect your own energy. If you do nothing else, learn to do that, because people will work on that. Anybody who has a narcissistic personality will know how to penetrate that energy. You do it all the time when you explain why you're doing things a certain way. When you start to defend yourself, when you start to argue, that's where the blood-sucking vampires come in. So I feel like here, if you can understand that, maybe you've learned that, maybe this experience here will be so much better because you know who you are now, or you know where you're coming from. So let's have a quick look and see what's going on. So some sort of offer is on the table here. I see you putting up so much resistance here for this offer, but at the end of the day, that offer is going to come anyway. It may just come in a very different shape or form. It may be that you accept the offer, but you try out your new skills. How can I try out my new skills? What can I do differently this time? I won't get engaged in the gossip in the office. If somebody treats me a certain way, I'll find a better way of handling it. I'll be more assertive. I won't show them my emotion or my explanations or my anger or my dissatisfaction. I might start to understand how to deflect other people's energy and just not take it on board. People are really unhappy, and they're not happy until they pull everybody else down with them. All right, so I feel like here you're going through some sort of rebirth. You'll be getting an opportunity to rebuild some part of you here, which has been very difficult for you to deal with. And I feel because of that, you're getting a brand new beginning. Sorry, my nose is just hay fever. Okay, Spirit. Oh, no, I don't want 2 cards. I've been very selective this morning on the Oracle card, which is quite interesting. Oh, there it is. Okay. Oh, I feel like we've had this one out before too. She of the Crackin. What does that? I'm pretty sure we had this out one day last week. The receptive principle, nurturing and fertility. She of the Crackin may indicate a form of pregnancy, a necessary time of nurturing and development. We need to be open to her overflowing grace. She may also indicate a need to allow her nurturing grace to flow through us to others in the form of unconditional love and giving and spiritual healing. She tells us of the need for unconditional receiving, of making the best on what we are offered. She also reminds us that unbounded love and grace is ours, just waiting to be accepted. I feel like you're being asked to be kind to yourself. I feel like here that you are nurturing something within yourself that perhaps you've not been comfortable sharing with the world before. So I feel like here this is where the rebirth is coming in. Maybe you're not getting so angry or upset with yourself now because you know that you've learned differently. So this is really about loving and accepting yourself regardless of how you're feeling. All right, I will see you later. Bye-bye.